Hello, my name is Elijah Lowe, and here is my open source contribution project. So first off, my project is Panda3D, an open source community-driven project, which is a kind of a 3D/2D rendering platform that allows game development to proceed. So obviously the issue, let's start that, is that the issue requested was fixing the issue of the window becoming 0 with the Windows drag tool, right? This would cause an error in the rendering to make textures glitch out, and would also mess up divide by 0 calculations for other functions. So first off, before I actually started working on this issue, I made sure to familiarize myself with the contributing file and the README file, which was discussed in class. This helped me familiarize myself with things I needed to know, like how I should format the coding, what's the API, what's it called, how to actually input changes, and also like how to the process submitting it. And also a very good thing about the README file is that it taught me how to the proper version of Python I needed to install, and how to install Panda3D to actually compile the C++ code. Right, so let's get right into the contribution that I actually made. Was this function right here. So the great thing about this function is that it was already made for us. Is that whenever a window is created, this function, which was previously made, is called. And thankfully the function was pretty small, so I was able to put in this function pretty quickly. What I did was call self_win, which is initialized whenever this function is called, and I used the KW and the parameters to allow input from other functions. So let's say I set a restriction for the 120 to 120, which is the aspect ratio of most of the games. But if another function, let's say, wanted to change these restrictions to match a specific game, they could do that. So then I call the Windows properties, because the actual window rendering is not created in this code. It's created in the SRC not in SRC Direct, and Panda SRC, I think it was, yeah, Windows Display right here in this file, which is a 2,000 word file. So thankfully I could just take that and input the minimum size for the windows directly, instead of working in that huge file. So the good thing about working in Showbase is that it's actually inherited for all the games that are made. So for example, the first game that I want to make an example for is Ball and Maze. Is that originally I wanted to work with this game by implementing the window restriction inside the specific main.py file. Because of that, however, is that whenever I wanted to restrict the size, I would basically add a task to it to keep checking for the restriction size. But because of me because I kept adding tasks, the actual task of running the game would never occur. So although I could set a restriction on the windows, I couldn't actually run the game, which is the whole point. So what I decided to do is look through the inheritance, and I noticed that they used the constructor from Showbase. I walked over in Showbase and I saw they had an open main window function, and I inputted that function in this code, which allowed me to alter not only the Ball and the Maze, but also each one of these games right here, Boxing, Warbites, Blue Physics. And so in the showcase I'll show you right now, we can Python main.py. Alright, boom. So look, the game runs perfectly. If we try to restrict the window size, look, it stops around a certain point, which means the code that I implemented worked. Same thing for the bottom right here, is that when I try to go under it, I physically can't. Which is great, especially for this case because it matches the aspect ratio. So now let's see if it applied to the other games, since Showbase is a inheritor. Works, and let's try the window size restriction, and boom, easy peasy.